on, I'm ready. Thanks for taking the parking spot, too, by the way, you bitch.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. Circling Isabel Street looking for a goddamn parking spot.
Welcome back
To the
Gentlemen's Dojo.
Out there looking for street parking.
Gary,
Well,
just
your
show
piece
up on
of
time.
shit car.
Just be on time.
It's in the All Things Comedy spot.
My piece of shit car?
Yeah.
I drive a car that looks like a man drives a car. You drive a Mini Cooper.
Yeah.
You drive a car that a divorced woman in her 40s would drive.
It's a Mini Cooper S, too, by the way.
Yeah. Did you pick up the dry cleaning today? You're a fucking asshole. You're 15 minutes late. Just apologize.
I did apologize. Sorry, I live on the west side of town where celebrities are trying to commute out.
You live in a
East Bay.
600 square foot apartment with 4 dogs and a baker. Welcome back.
Thanks for taking the parking spot.
No problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm on the street. Who took the second one? Who's got the second one?
Huh?
Who's in the second spot? There's 2 All Things Comedy spots out there. Who's got the second one?
Probably Aaron.
No? Let's get that fucker towed. Whoever that is.
Well, the reason I played Van Halen,
Yeah, why?
we have a very special guest here today.
You've been late a bunch too, by the way.
Never.
Never?
If I'm late,
Yeah.
it's within a minute or two, like 10:02,
Ooh.
10:01.
Was I ever late when we were
Aaron,
at the
how
old
often
studio?
am I late?
That'd be never.
Thank you.
Was I ever late when we were at the other studio?
Often.
That's full.
5-7 minutes late, yeah.
You
Today's
know
the
what?
most, 15 minutes late.
Yeah. Sorry. Well, I live in Santa Monica where the celebrities live. People work in TV.
Yeah, they live in
Everybody's
Malibu.
leaving the 10.
They live in
right?
Malibu, yeah.
No. I live near, maybe this sounds familiar.
'Cause you live
Wind
above a
from
to-go
Earth, Wind
yogurt.
and Fire. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
We have a very special guest here today.
Oh, we sure do.
Do you want to
No,
introduce
Steve-
him?
No, Steve's here. Wait a minute. Our special guest. Oh, yes, we do, Steve. By the way, the last time I saw Steve was when we did our little anti-bullying campaign.
That's right.
Yeah, it was
That
awesome.
was live from your backyard a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was fun.
You were late for that, too.
I was not late for that, but I did get letters and we did get comments after that saying the sound of the police cars did get in the way of the feed from our stream. Steve Simeone, how are you, my friend?
Nothing.
Good, buddy. Thanks for having me.
Nothing on that.
What's it,
Simone,
Matt?
you also have a wonderful podcast.
Did he bring his own coffee cup in?
They gave me this next door. I walked into the wrong door.
What is your podcast as well?
It's called Good Times.
Good
You've
Times with
been
Steve
on it.
Simeone.
I
I've
want to
done
have
it.
you back.
Yeah.
And Mr. Cannon, I'd love to have you on whenever your schedule permits.
Does not permit, but good stuff. Steve is available any time of the year to do your podcast. Just throw it a
Anyways,
day at a time.
the reason we
Available.
brought Simone in today is because we
A
are
lot of
all...
reasons.
Okay, go ahead, Gary. Take over.
Well, listen,
Take over.
I'm excited.
Good.
I love Steve.
Yeah.
We're excited.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, we're both wrestling fans. We love
Yes.
wrestling.
Yep.
But the reason we brought Steve in is because all of us, including our buddy Bill Crawford, who works at DVE radio station in Pittsburgh,
Yep.
we are all going to do a big USO tour in May.
Yes, we can't disclose the location.
It's going to be awesome.
We can't
Let's preface
disclose
that.
it.
Yeah,
No.
right now. But we are doing a USO tour.
OPSEC.
Yeah, and we are talking about, we could recollect about our memories. You have a great joke in your act about coming back from a USO tour. Why don't you do that joke, Gary?
Steve, do you really like this joke or are you messing with me? Because I think it's one of my better jokes in my Rolodex of 8.
Better joke.
So,
Go
have
ahead.
you ever seen this guy get mad? Have you ever seen, you've known him for a long time.
I've never seen Simone get mad.
Once. Aaron, never. I've seen him one time at the Comedy Store. Furious. Do you remember the time I'm talking about?
No.
Somebody compared your act to Steve Byrne's. And you were so angry. You're like, that's
up.
bullshit. I have jokes. I have fans. I sell
Hilarious.
tickets.
All right, okay.
So that was the time.
Okay,
Yes.
great.
Yeah. Listen, I don't have to be on time. I tell jokes when I get here. I set
Gary.
the tone. I set the mood. All you do is mention where he's going to be. Yes. Good to have you here, Steve.
Lovely to be here.
I wish you saw him at Roast Battle get booed.
No.
Have you ever seen a comic get booed as a judge at Roast Battle?
No.
Gary did.
Nuh-uh.
Gary did.
Are we
yeah.
talking about the USO
Yeah.
tour? How does it jump to roast battle?
They called him a faggot. Shut up, faggot. They said that.
Admit that I came out strong. I came out hot.
He came out hot. He got really cocky.
I
and
came
then
out
and
hot.
then he went long, and he
Yes.
pushed the show long, and the audience turned on him
Quickly. Yeah.
real quick.
Yes.
Anyways, we're talking, and you have this great joke in your act about how you're coming back from a USO tour, but you never did one.
And by the way, you did call me faggot. When you were
I did it. That wasn't
was
me.
You? Oh, I thought it was you. It
Fuck
sounded
you.
like you.
You've never done a USO
was a
tour, but
woman's
you
voice.
say in your act to
That's
get
not true.
you get the applause break. Please, you went to you stayed in California. You never got on a plane to do a USO tour, did you?
Yes.
Where?
Years ago.
Where?
I went with my buddy Scott Kennedy.
Where?
We went to Iraq and Afghanistan.
not.
That is a true story. Why would I make that up? I
Did
have
you
pictures.
seriously? Because I
Yes.
asked you about it in the green room before. You're like, no, I never went.
No, I did. No. I did absolutely go. Years ago, I went on one. I went with Scott Kennedy and Julia Lillis. You remember Julia Lillis?
Oh, she's the best.
Yeah. She was a Navy girl.
Yeah,
she doesn't
she
do
went to
comedy
the
anymore,
to Naval Academy. She's like a genius.
Yeah. And you understand how people go out on the road or do movies and hook up because Scott Kennedy and I hooked up.
So you really actually did one.
I did. I absolutely
and you went
did.
to Iraq?
And that is a true story. When I was checking in at the United kiosk, the woman said, "Are you going to Iraq or Kuwait for business or for pleasure?" And I was like, "Oh wow, there's a new joke. There's one right there." So now I'm up to 6 minutes.
But you know what I mean?
No,
It's
I
like,
did.
Was it fun?
No, it was good.
But
It was good.
there's no finish to the joke.
Oh, the video. Well, listen.
Let me repeat that joke again. That's what you always say because they never laugh. That joke sucks. Simeone, tell us about
Sorry,
your first
it's not
USO.
accompanied under
tell
with
us
an
about
Usher song.
Tell us about your first. Tell us about your first USO tour.
Ball breaking here. I feel like we should be playing video games, and I'll be like, "Mom, more cheesies." Like this feels like we're 11 years old, and it's just the ball breaking.
what
section.
Steve
year-
without Usher is like Owen without the keyboard. Exactly the same. Exactly. It was just because you don't laugh, that means it's nothing.
Nothing. Nobody laughed. Aaron's here. Simone's here. What year was your first USO or your first trip overseas, and who was it with?
2006 was to Afghanistan through an organization called Comics on Duty. Thank you. Rich Davis is the sweetest guy ever, who used to work for the USO and then was like, oh, wait a second. If I just send comedians over, they don't need a stage. They don't need an entourage. They don't. And he was like, I can do way more shows and bring comedy to places that wouldn't get entertainment. So he just focused on bringing comedians and laughs to the comics.
Right.
Dave Mishevitz, who was an old school Comedy Store guy, had by that point, when we landed in Bagram, they all knew Mishevitz like he was in the middle. Dave, you're back. He had probably done 20 tours by that time.
Yeah.
Invited me to go along, and it was the best experience I ever had in comedy.
Was Dave
So-
like the Scott Kennedy? Because Scott did a tour like every
Yes.
single month.
Yeah.
He was out there all
the time.
He would come back and then just jump right back out again.
Yep.
How does a guy like, because I know Rich Davis through Steve Maison, who
Yes.
did a lot of those tours.
That's how I became such good buddies with Maison, was because the next tour was with him. We did 40 days. We were gone
I'm
for
sorry?
40 days.
40 days.
40 days. It was insane.
Where were you guys going?
Well, the first tour was Afghanistan. Then the second tour, it was like, do you want to go to Europe? I was like, yes. But then when we were in Europe, then they took us to Bahrain for Navy to actually do actual ships. So say we did a tour with like 4 guys in Europe. Then 3 of us went to the Persian Gulf.
Right.
Or what do they call the Arabian Sea? Did you ever notice that? The guys in the Navy, they call it the Arabian Sea. I'm like, that must be the official term. And then
It's actually Qatar.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then 2 of us got extended. They were like, hey, man, if you guys can stick around a couple more days, there's a whole aircraft carrier fleet that's going to be coming in.
Oh, yeah.
And they haven't. And I was like, Panama. So then they flew us out. I think that was the Eisenhower we did.
Wow.
And some of the little ships around it. I've done 3 aircraft
And then
carriers.
did you stay on the aircraft carriers?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
It's like staying on the Millennium Falcon. So you have to like step to, like, you feel like you're on a spaceship.
Yeah.
It's the coolest thing ever. They treat us so well that you
It's
can't
almost
even put
the
it into
irony
words.
is almost it's so ironic because you're there to express gratitude for what it is
100%
they do.
so.
And they're like rolling out the red carpet, like thank you. It's like no. We're here to thank you guys.
Yeah,
You
that's
could've
the whole
put me in
reason
a
to
broom
do it.
closet, I'd be happy.
Yeah, it's the whole reason to do it. It's
Yeah.
just to go over there and say thank you face to face.
Well, I asked Gary. I go, hey, do you want to do this USO tour? He goes, absolutely. How much do I get paid? And I'm like,
yeah, that's what my first question.
yeah. How much do you get paid?
Because I don't leave the country or the state unless I'm getting, I need a stipend. I always have so much work here in town that it's not worth it for me.
Yeah. How long did
your
it take you to walk your 4 dogs and pick up all their shit, and that's why you're late today?
Pick up
dog shit. You were picking up dog shit. That's why you're late.
By the way, these soldiers thank Steve before the show. It's never after. They thank him before. Then after the show, they're like, "Hey, we'd rather go to the front lines." Fuck.
Gary said you're the only comic that the soldiers come out and applaud as the plane's taking off.
You know what? Don't use that joke that I used on you.
You just
on your Facebook page. I said that to you.
I just said. Did I not just say that
you
did that?
Me?
Did I just say Gary said that?
I thought you said it about Steve.
No, you.
Oh,
to me.
That's the only time that the soldiers applaud when Steve's leaving. They're like, "Fuck it, we'll stay here. We'll stay here in Afghanistan."
Anywho,
yeah.
What was the coolest thing you've gotten to do while you're on a USO tour, and what was the most danger you've been in while you're on a USO? Or, I should stop saying USO, but as you're entertaining the troops, yeah.
Well, I think the coolest thing is those conversations you have with people in uniform where you could be so far away from home, but because of either the anticipation before the show or the show itself or that feeling that gets left in the air when you stay and talk to them afterwards and you don't feel like you're in Iraq or Afghanistan or on some ship where you feel like you literally feel like you're back at the Comedy Store.
Yeah.
And it's the greatest thing ever. For that time you're there hanging out with those guys, you're not at war. It's incredible. I think that's honestly the coolest thing because it literally feels different. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. Because like when you're going on tour and you're seeing like all the stuff they do, you're like, oh my, what am I doing here? This is like a war is going on. But then you do your comedy show and it's just a show.
Yeah.
I think that feeling is the coolest thing I've ever felt. But in terms of experiences, on the aircraft carriers, they let us be down on the flight deck when they took off. And you have like 2 or 3 sets of things on your ears.
Is the Top Gun theme song going through your head?
Dude, it is the greatest. You're like, this is why Ronnie James Dio made music. Yeah. Like, because it's just so insane. And then we did, I forget which carrier it was, but like the fighter pilots are like if it's a floating high school, they're the football team, they're the cool guys.
They're all quarterbacks.
Yes, and they loved us.
Yeah.
So they were like, bro. And they started to tell their stories about growing up with brothers or whatever it was. So then they were like, have you ever seen night landings? I'm like, what are you talking about? And there's these little observation decks around the carrier where they have to judge how the guys land. Like, that's such a they're just winners.
It's got to be next to impossible.
Impossible.
Right? To literally land in the dark. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're doing it in the dark. But even if they do it, they only have 3 attempts. Even if they do it on their first attempt, if the angle they're coming in at is not the right one, they can lose their job. So they brought us out on these decks, floating kind of off the ship, and having the planes fly in over top of us. And I'm like, you get to do things that normal. Yeah. It's the greatest thing ever.
Yeah, when I was, God, I forget. We were somewhere in the Middle East, and we got to, I don't know if I should say it, but they let us. They're like, "Do you want to shoot the gun?" We're at Black Hawk. I'm like, yeah, I'd love to shoot the gun. And they go, okay. So you stand there, and there's a turret. It's just hanging out, in this bay. And the guy goes, just shoot the sand. Check it out. And so you shoot the sand, and you see the sparks because the sand is so hot, the bullet's so hot that it looks like just like these little flames are. It was great. And I go, can I take my shirt off? He goes, no, you cannot take your. Because Rambo, I always had that dream of like Rambo, it's like, the muscles and everything.
Hilarious.
It looked horrible, but yeah, I wanted to do it.
That's hysterical.
That was selfish, but I agree with you. It's the hang that's the best part.
It's the greatest.
When you get to go to the mess hall and just eat with everybody and see people that you did the show the night before and they just want to hang out.
It's the greatest. It's so
and they all want
fun.
to tell you stories.
Yes.
And their stories are awesome.
The greatest.
Gary, what about you?
I like cheeseburgers.
Nothing.
No, I will tell you this. Here's what's crazy. I agree with you.
What was that?
But even what?
What was that?
I like cheeseburgers.
Yeah.
I'm hungry. But here's what I will tell you.
Oh, boy.
I will tell you. I bring the comedic value entertainment here to this side of it. No, here's what I will tell you. You know what was great? I don't know if you ever did this gig, but Brad Williams and I did a gig that was off the coast of Santa. Shut up!
Well, I'm into it. What?
You're really into it. I'm the mother goose of storytelling.
What?
No, did you ever do that gig where it's right off the coast of Santa Barbara and you actually go up to Oxnard, you fly
Steve's
out?
a headliner. He doesn't pick up the C rooms. Rooster T. Feathers. Is that what you're talking about? What? The Yoo-Hoo Room in Burbank?
Well, you're
What's it like?
today.
What's it like opening for Brad Williams? What is the point of this story? We're talking about.
It's a short gig. Yeah.
Wow. Gary.
It's maybe not my best day. I came out swinging. It's almost like roast battle in a sense. I came out strong. It's dipping a little bit.
Okay.
It's very early here on Isabel Street. Yeah, with no parking.
Now,
Yes.
what was the best part? What was the most redemptive asset that you felt of doing the show
tour?
for the tour for the military? Yeah.
Well, I got the crazy thing is, and Steve, you hit on this. It's literally that line, right? It's like you just got married, and there's a line of 100 soldiers, men and women, waiting to meet you.
Yeah.
Which again is the craziest thing because they're coming over saying thank you, thank you, thank you for what you just did.
Yeah.
And listen, I was with Scott Kennedy, who'd been over there a bunch of times. Julia, it was her and I first time. But people are coming over and wanting pictures, and you're signing these autographs, and you're like, this seems so ridiculously silly.
Yeah.
Because obviously you're there for them. You know what I mean?
They're the real heroes.
And what I love about it, you nailed this, Steve. There's so many things in life that, we get to do as comics that nobody can ever do. And I thought the coolest thing was it didn't matter how much money you had or whatever you wanted to do. You couldn't do that as a regular civilian. There's no way you could have done that.
Absolutely.
And being in comedy, you were able to do that. You were able to go over there and be part of this.
We get to do stuff people in the military don't even get to do.
Right.
Like there are people that spend their whole life in the Navy and they've never landed on an aircraft carrier.
Or been on a Black Hawk.
In 2004, when I went the very
Zodiacs.
first time, my brother is stationed at Camp Victory North.
Wow.
And he talked to his commanding officer, and he got the day off. So he was able to travel with us. And it was me, Colin Quinn, and Robert Kelly.
How cool is that?
And so, it's surreal seeing your little brother, and he's like, got his gun, he's got his sidearm, he's in camo, he's a soldier. It's like, oh, this is my little brother. He could take me out any minute now. So
Wish you would have.
he's not having flashbacks. Anyways, I was telling him, he's like, how did you get into the camp? And I was like, oh, we got in on a Black Hawk. He's like, son of a bitch.
Yep.
He's like, I've been in the military for 4 years. I never got to take a Black Hawk.
Yes.
And so, you kind of, I guess you don't know any better, though.
Right.
But you do take it for granted. The C-130s, when you fly in those huge cargo planes.
Oh, it's so cool.
And it's just you and like two other comics, and then you have this enormous cargo plane. They're just transporting you.
It's insane.
How many tens of thousands of dollars in fuel or operating costs does it take? But that's what they do to provide entertainment for these guys and gals.
Well, it is crazy, though, too, because you do realize very quickly talking to the soldiers that they don't have a lot going on out there.
There's not much to do.
I mean, it really is, when they do find out that there's a comedy show coming up, they're so thrilled because it's just something, they're, behind those four walls every day.
Well, you can only play, they have those rec centers where it's like, you can only play so much Xbox or have access to every movie possible until you just want to do something else.
Okay, this is what happened to me just recently. So probably 2 weeks ago, this hat I'm wearing now, there's a company called Ranger Up. It's owned by all current or former Army Rangers, which are like the superheroes. So I love to support the military and veterans any way I can. Plus, there's an MMA fighter named Tim Kennedy that's one of the owners. He's like my hero.
Yeah.
So I'm like, and I can buy an American flag hat. Awesome. It's like win, win, win. And so I was wearing it at the gym once, and this guy was like, are you in the military? I'm like, no, I got the hat because I do these USO tours. I'm a comedian. And he was like, what? Oh, my God, that's incredible. He's like, I'm a Marine. I'm like, thank you. And he's like, no, thank you. And I'm like, why is this guy so happy that we do what we do? Because I'm in awe. I stand in awe of what they do. And I think we should talk about that at some point.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that was like, say, 2 weeks ago. Like 3 days after that, I get a text from a buddy of mine who I'd met on that first tour in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
So I met somebody in Afghanistan. We stayed in touch. through the years. And he was
Gary,
like, hey,
shut up.
no.
What?
I saw you looking over. You insert gay joke here. I saw him. He was waiting. Don't.
I was wondering what Simone was doing at the gym.
Gary.
Wait, go ahead. That's where he lost me.
This is all a lie. So he needed a place to crash. And I'm like, yeah, dude, you can crash for a night. Because it's like you want to say thank you, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, and I told him the story, and he was like, because what you guys do means so much.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, what are you talking about? He was like, in his opinion, this is just one person that served. He felt that so many people don't care.
Right.
That there's this mentality that they're out there literally putting their lives on the line, and so many people don't appreciate what they do.
Right.
He was like, so when a civilian takes time out of their schedule to come over there and say thank you, it means what we do matters. And I was like, whoa. And then he had brought up what we were just talking about. He goes, you have no idea what a gift that is, because when you guys are on stage, we're not at war.
Yeah.
And he was like, you can't put a price on that. Like,
I remember in 2005 I went with Drew Carey, and this is like, and if you're there in 2006, it's probably like, right there at the peak of everything in 2003, maybe 2004, 5, 6. It's all like, it's prevalent in the news, and we have forward operating bases and everything, and establishing a front. And I remember I did this show, and it was with Drew Carey, and I finished my set, and this kid comes up to me, goes, you don't know what this means. I go, what? He goes, I literally, he was saying how surreal it was, how he was in this firefight because this convoy had gotten ambushed.
Jesus.
And so they went in to rescue the convoy, and they got into a firefight, and they're dragging bodies, and then
my God.
He just comes back to the base. He's walking to his barracks, and he hears people laughing, and he comes over, and he goes, next thing I know, I'm laughing. He's like, I was just, and I think he was trying to process it too, where I'll never forget him. I can picture him to this day, but he was saying how I was just shooting at people and trying to rescue people, and now I'm here, and I'm like, you guys made me forget about things for a few minutes, so thank you. And I was like, it was like surreal when else do you do a comedy show?
It never matters that much.
Like
I never realized being a comedian was anything like, I never realized that it mattered. And in so many ways it doesn't matter what we do, but in those instances, you don't. I'm like, oh, I can contribute too. And it was the first time I really felt that, and I got addicted to that feeling. Because I'm like, oh, I just want to help. How can I help? Oh, I can help by being funny? Are you serious? Well, then whenever you need me, I'm here. Whenever.
How about you, Gary? Any experiences of soldiers you got to talk to before or after?
Do you still keep in touch with Drew Carey? Because maybe he can get you on the Price is Right, win some appliances for Jess.
Gary?
Was he executioner?
Gary, shut the fuck up.
I'm back, baby. I'm back.
Oh, shut up.
No, but it is. It's. I remember we did a show. It was a small show. I mean, and you know this. Sometimes the smallest shows that they're the best shows, because I remember me, Scott, and Julia got to one of the bases. It was 10 in the morning, and there were 6 people there. And something was going on. A lot of the other soldiers had to go and do something. So there were like 6 or 7 of us, or 6 or 7 soldiers that were there. So Scott's kind of mentality was like, hey, it's almost a small group. Why don't we just go around and just talk to them and, socialize, this, that, and the other thing. And we all kind of agreed like, hey, they're here. They want a show. Let's do it.
Yep.
And sometimes those shows for like 6 people are the greatest of all time because they're so engaged.
Well, they have to be for you.
Well, I mean, it gave me the experience to now deal with your tour, which was great. Although
judo,
you don't get that many. But it was crazy that little group. And I remember doing a show one time in a little church.
Oh,
and you're standing next to this huge cross, and you're like, can I drop the F-bomb in here?
Yeah,
they're like, you can do whatever you want. And it was just weird. Like, I mean, back then I did all different material than I do now. But, like, just seeing that cross there was the weirdest thing ever.
All different
to be
material.
Yeah.
You mean good? Wow. Well, I will say, yeah, I agree with you. The small, we did this forward operating base.
They're the best.
I mean, we were literally like 3 miles away from, I think, the Iranian border.
Yeah.
And we flew in a Black Hawk. We land in the middle of like, it was almost like this desert / mountainside, whatever, but it looked like a bombed out building.
Yes.
And we just land there. And we walk into this basement. This building was bombed out.
Yes.
It looked like something you'd see in like Saving Private Ryan or something, but in the desert. So we go in, and there are maybe 30 guys, beards, yoked. They all look like Abercrombie models with beards. These dudes, none of them were below 6'4".
Yep.
220, just jacked, strapped, and I'm walking. It was like the most intimidating. I'm walking in with, I think it was Drew Carey. I was with Drew Carey, and Schubert was there.
Awesome.
And 2 other comics, and we walk in, and we're like, what are we doing here? They're like, all right, get to it.
Yeah.
And we go up, the best show.
The greatest.
Probably the best show I've ever done in my life, start to finish, not only being a part of, but witnessing. Drew hitting the ground running. These guys must have been in a firefight for
the real
days
deal.
And marooned out there, just stuck out there. You know, they hadn't had a hot meal in weeks, hadn't had a shower probably longer than that.
Yeah.
And it was just like a gasket blew. They just needed
the greatest
release of laughter.
One of the best things that ever happened to me on one of these tours happened years after the tour. I was in San Diego maybe a year and a half ago. Mm-hmm. And I was talking to this guy who was a comedian, and it just came up. He was like, well, then I went on the GI Bill. And I'm like, oh, thank you for your service. And he was like, I know what. So we started to talk, and he was like, it was actually in the military I was inspired to become a comedian. I'm like, no way. He was like, yeah, I was stationed in Afghanistan. We were at a little combat outpost. And he was like, and a helicopter lands, and everybody's like, what is this? And he goes, 4 comedians get off the helicopter. And I'm like, whoa. And he was like, it wasn't anybody I recognized. It wasn't anybody famous, but it was so cool that they were there. And he was like, most of them weren't that funny. And I was like, if they can do it, I can do it. I'm like, wait, when was this? And we found out I was one of the comedians that he had seen. And he was like, oh my God. That was the last time I went to Afghanistan. And he was like, it inspired him to start doing comedy. I'm like, the circle's complete. This is the craziest thing ever.
We did have that time, too, where we were coming off a helicopter, and then we passed 3 other comics that were jumping onto a plane, like you're passing, and like you're seeing this other group of comics that you know from L.A., and you're just passing in the wind. They're heading somewhere else. It's like we're thousands and thousands of miles away,
cool.
And they're heading to a different base. It's very crazy, you know, that you're and when you're up on those stages, you don't really realize where you are. You know what I mean? You don't realize that you're in an active war zone.
Yeah.
Well, I will say the only time I ever realized I'm not on a normal stage is in 2004. We go out to this courtyard in like the city somewhere, and there's a flatbed truck with camo on it and stuff, and it's this little courtyard, really, really small, but they have the flatbed truck there, and there's maybe 30, 40 chairs set up, and all these soldiers are sitting in it. And because I was I was emceeing the show, so I went up first, and I walk over, and I'm like, above the stage in this building, there's a sniper. There's 2 snipers.
Yeah.
And I go, what is that guy? Because there was a guy there, and there was a guy over on this side. I go, and I was like looking around. I'm like, why are there snipers up on the thing? And they go, those snipers are there looking at the snipers way off over there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why are we doing this show here, guys? Shouldn't we be inside?
Yeah.
But they put the show outside, and that was the most scared I've ever been in my entire life doing stand-up, knowing I really thought I'm going to get shot. I really believed, but I was like, well,
that's why we're there.
That's why you're there, yeah.
Like, I remember my mom was like, what are you? And I was like, Mom, imagine you're 18 years old and you're scared. I'm like, those kids are, my job is to give them a relief from that feeling. Yeah. They feel that 24 hours a day. I don't think, like, I always had an appreciation for people that serve, always. But then when you actually go and see the sacrifices up close, and I just literally stand in awe.
Well, it's not
of
even
what
just
they
the
do.
sacrifice of like the profession. It's the sacrifice of these are sons, daughters,
Yes.
mothers, fathers.
Yes.
These are birthdays missed.
Yes.
These are holidays missed. These are a 2-year-old kid not being there for Christmas with his mom or dad. It's
All
like
of that.
that's the real, like, personal sacrifice. Not only,
And then that worry where like every day they're like, this could be my last day. That's part of their job.
Yeah.
They're willing to die for this country. Nobody, when you stop and think about that, there's nothing more heroic than that. That is
Yeah.
my last tour through Afghanistan. I don't know what year it was. It was like 2013, maybe 2014. And we were at one of the little combat outposts. I remember, like, and I just got a bad feeling because you start to realize, like, oh, this is real. And then we went to another base that was bigger. I forget. It was a FOB because it was, I don't know. I'm not a military guy, but it was a bigger base.
yeah,
And I'm like, dude, I do not have a good feeling.
yeah.
They had to shut down that base because the people that we were training turned on the people that were training them and killed 2 of our soldiers. So they had to shut down the whole base. And you're like, oh, this is real.
Yeah.
And on that same tour, one of the shows was canceled because the guys that were building our stage took a shell.
Oh,
So literally hit the stage we were supposed to perform on the following day.
jeez.
It's real.
Yeah.
It is. It's also interesting too when you're out there. There's no talk of politics. There's no who we're in favor of, who we're not. I mean, like it's very like everybody is just out there to do
Yeah.
a job. That's what I loved about it. And one of my favorite moments too was I think it was one of the last days that we were out there. I think we were back in Kuwait, and a bunch of the Wounded Warriors from the Wounded Warriors program got to go up and do stand up.
Oh, that's awesome.
So they did stand up in just this amazing supportive room. I think 6 guys went up and did it.
Well, that's 6 more guys you could open for.
Really, Steve? I'm talking about the Wounded Warriors, and that's how you turn it. Steve.
Cheeseburger.
But it's a very cool, just to see them go up there and do it. It was just awesome.
It's amazing. Actually, there's an organization called Awaken Arts where they work with guys that are working through PTSD, and they use art as therapy for that. And one of the things that I want to do is we could do that with stand-up. We could, any guy that has an interest in maybe doing stand-up, we could sort of mentor them through the process.
Yeah.
I think that would be the coolest thing ever.
Well, they'd want
Right,
to
to
talk
help-
to comics.
What's that?
They'd want to talk to comics.
So you're out.
Anywho, yeah, I agree with you. I mean, there are moments when you're over there where you realize how real it truly is. I remember I was going on this C-130, which is those huge cargo planes, and they asked 2 of us if we wanted to sit up in the cockpit.
Yeah.
And you put on the headset, and you can hear everything that they're communicating back and forth. And it's all this technical jargon, and you know, I have no idea what they're saying. But we're going up, and I see fireworks, and I was like, "Oh, that's pretty cool." I'm just naive. It just those are fireworks. That's pretty cool. Maybe they're doing a show for the troops or whatever.
Right.
We land, and those are heat-seeking flares because an RPG was shot at us at the C-130.
Yes.
And so those flares trickled down, and the rockets would follow the flares as opposed to the.
They did that when we were in Iraq the last time.
That's right. Yeah.
And how we then the flares went off.
Yeah.
And I was like, is anybody else getting nervous?
It was like psst, psst, psst.
And then we landed.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we weren't supposed to land. What's going? And
Yeah.
they never told us what happened.
Yeah.
I think that might have been a prank for us. But I
don't
still
think
know.
they prank. I don't think that they were like,
How I coped with it. I'm like, we weren't even in danger. They were just
Yeah.
having laughs.
let's just see which of these 4 is going to shit their pants. It's like,
Well, it is funny how the military, they just nobody just even cracks. Like everybody's just like, hey, this is commonplace. There's no, they make you feel very comfortable because they're not panicking.
Yeah, they're the coolest.
Yeah, they just lay low, and it just, but it is weird when you're doing a show and every single audience member has a machine gun on their back. You're just like, what's going on here?
Better be funny.
Yeah.
I remember doing a show in Djibouti once, and which was a really cool base because it was all branches of the military were there, everybody. And then I didn't realize that was probably like all pretty much like special operators and stuff like that because it's proximity to Somalia. But I remember doing the show, and I don't know about you guys, but if I don't have a good show at the Comedy Store, I don't care.
Yeah.
But if I don't have a good show entertaining the troops, I almost can't live with it. Like, I feel like I had my superpower to make somebody laugh and I couldn't do it. You know what I mean? Like, I love those guys so much that I feel like it's the only time where, like, you literally give them everything you possibly can to make them laugh. And I remember you ever do that crazy comedian thing where you're like, wait, that one guy's not laughing? You watch that? Like, so this was probably, I don't know, 8 years ago. I was a younger comic. And the first guy goes up and killing, but the one guy's not laughing. Then the next guy goes up. Everybody's killing. But there's this one dude that's just sitting there with his legs crossed and his arms crossed. And he looked like he looked like a modern day pirate.
Yeah.
Like, nobody's sitting near this dude. He had the eyes. He had been. And I remember when I was up on stage, I remember him starting to laugh. Mm-hmm. And it looked like he was turning into like a werewolf or something because he was trying to fight it.
Yeah.
And seeing the look on his face, like as he was laughing, he almost didn't know what he was doing. Like, like he didn't know. He had forgotten how to laugh.
Yeah.
So then that guy's trying to get it. Did you hear it? And you know when somebody loves it and they make eye contact with the person next to him, like, isn't it? I've done that. Like the positive heckles. And I remember hanging out with that guy after the show. And he was like, you guys were awesome. This was the best time I've had. Normally the shows suck, but you guys were really good. And I was like, oh, this was the whole reason why you do it.
Yeah. Well, it's awesome. I'm excited to go with you guys.
Yeah, we're excited. Us three, Bill Crawford from Pittsburgh.
We're going to head back out. And,
mid-May for, 10 days? 10 days?
I think 7 days or something.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to go back over.
I'm so glad you're coming because I know you appreciate it.
That's
so
the
it'll
greatest.
Be fun. And
when you do the
Gary, now your joke will actually make sense.
When you do the USO tours, how much do you sell your merch for to the soldiers?
Here we go.
Do you give them a soldier discount?
Here we go. All right.
Just
this
more
is for Simeone.
More bombing.
More bombing. What are you talking about?
By the way, in reference to Steve Simeone, he must not care a lot at the Comedy Store then. Play the outro, Steve. Parking was a bitch today, too.
Yeah. Where's this? Yeah, that's Steve. This is for Simeone.
Okay. Oh, here it is.
Simone's the biggest Van Halen fan
I've
ever met in my life. So we cannot thank you, Simeone.
Thank you guys for letting me hang out.
Good times.
Yep. Oh, I have a new CD out called What's Up, Nerds?
By the way, I blasted it out. I downloaded it. I have it. It's awesome. And I was just talking to my wife the other day about your Willy Wonka run. It's literally one of my favorite bits.
Thank you.
I've never, because I was watching it the other day with my daughter. You gotta, look, just download Steve Simeone. One of the best.
Thank you.
Literally one of my favorites.
Yeah, we love this guy.
Where's your albums available?
Which one?
Which one?
The platinum one?
What are they called?
That one's called Plenty of Tickets Available. The Steve Byrne Tour.
Where can they find you, Simeone? AwesomeSteve.com.
AwesomeSteve.com. Gary.
And then, Steve, you'll be at the Brea Improv next weekend, and I saw that little email that they sent out about get on your guest list for any of the dates. Normally, Saturday first show's never a freebie, but it looks like it was for this one. Yeah. Any dates, all tickets available. Just come up to the box office, mumble anything, you'll get right in.
Mumble anything.
All right, we are the Gentleman's Dojo. Thanks for listening. And thank you to all the men and women who have or are currently serving our country. We look forward
As Lee Greenberg has said it, God bless the USA.